Broadcasting live from an Airstream somewhere in Tornado Alley, bringing you the people, places, and stories from the Panhandle to the Red River. This is your Only in Oklahoma show.
And welcome to the show. We're headed to Woods County for a menagerie of laser tag and llamas. I'm Brett.
And I am Harley.
What? You don't like laser tag? Or
did.
llamas? Or llamas with laser tag?
I didn't know that there were either. I do think it's funny that you immediately scoffed.
Why?
Because you always just assumed that I've pulled some random some random organization. I don't know what that is. That sounds bad.
Well, no, I used to be more involved with the day-to-day operations, what's coming up next. Anymore, you're kind of like you hand me the script and say we need you to know the lines tomorrow. Tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow. So I'm trying my best. I think it's cool. Laser tag and llamas, gimme. Can you award me the time of the day in the day to do something like that?
Can we just touch on
what?
How much difficulty you're having with being a dad again?
God, I can't even begin. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
I honestly think it's the coolest thing I've ever seen you do because you're stressed about being a dad, more than you've ever stressed about anything before. Yeah. And you've been a dad before, so it's not like everything is brand new.
But wait, my newborn child doesn't tell me to hit the road or F off. It's more fun now, than being a child of a rebellious 21-year-old.
No,
or being a parent of a rebellious 21-year-old.
I get that. But it's funny. You're like a brand new parent.
What? I'm like a new person as well?
Kind of a little bit.
Well, this new person is tired, middle-aged, overworked, and underpaid. So I need some laser tag and llamas.
And we'll get to those right after this.
So, a lot of people aren't working right now. And some people are getting unemployment, and some people are, I don't know, they're independent contractors. Just because 2020 has been canceled, there's nothing fun or cool to do. Well, there is. There's still cool things to do, but you still have to pay your taxes.
100%. Just because everybody across the country has canceled almost every single event that we were interested in does not mean the IRS has canceled your taxes.
Even GW Zoo, Exotic Zoo in Wynnewood, has to pay their taxes.
They would probably be in a lot better position if they would have reached out to Holiday Tax Group.
Probably.
So if you are concerned about your taxes or you have questions, I would say reach out to the team at Holiday Tax for a free 30-minute consultation. Their phone number is
405-730-3100, or you can find them at
holidaytaxgroup.com.
That's holiday with 2 L's. Well, for nearly a decade, the Bradts have been providing quite a menagerie of a petting zoo in Alva, Oklahoma. Today on the show is JoDe and Jared Bradt from Bradts Menagerie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to jump out here.
Go ahead.
How do you get to that spot where you have every animal under the sun?
Right, you started with a box of chickens.
It's called Frustration of a Wife.
Oh, man. I can't imagine.
How we start it's how we start a petting zoo anyway. But, the reason we started with a box of chicks. We live on a farm. It's been a wheat farm for how many years?
It's been nothing. My great-grandparents, when they first lived here, they had chickens and hogs and cows and horses. They had, your usual farm animals.
Your garden variety.
For the last 50 years, it's been nothing but a quiet little wheat farm.
With all of your grandma's cats.
Yeah, my grandma was a big cat and dog person.
So his grandparents lived here. They decided when our middle child was born to go ahead and move into town and allow us to move out to the farm. When we moved out to the farm, we had no idea that this would ever happen or ever progress to that point. we got a box of chicks thinking our boys needed some responsibility because there's not a whole lot of responsibility that they can take on a wheat farm.
Right.
And teaching them how to work and teaching them, a good work ethic and stuff like that.
That they can do, but the problem is a lot of it when they were that age was too dangerous.
Right.
You're talking, PTOs and augers and big 4-wheel drive tractors that at their age was too dangerous.
And at that point, they were about 6 and 9. Jared got frustrated because what he had asked them to do was to pick up some sticks.
Well, yeah. So on our we have it's fairly large property. It's like 6-7 acre farm of where the houses and outbuildings and grain bins and all that stuff are. Yeah, I mean, you can mow for 5 hours and just still not hardly make a dent in it some days. So I had told them, I was like, guys, when we get home from church on Sunday, I want to mow. I don't want to pick up tree limbs. I don't want to pick up sticks. I don't want to roll up garden hoses. I don't want to pick up bicycles and all your yard toys. I just want to come home and mow. This was on Monday, before, almost a week before the Sunday I wanted it.
And I'll say maybe that was partially my fault because I didn't actually make them get out there and do that. But he got frustrated that Sunday.
I had to re-ask on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Anyway, when I came home Saturday and it wasn't done yet, I blew my top. I was like, that's it. We've got to find something to get them outside.
Because they were obsessed with video games, as many kids are.
Yes.
So anyway, what Jared wanted was some chickens. And I was like, I don't want chickens. I hate chickens. I grew up with chickens. And he tells me, not all chickens are like your dad's chickens.
Right. Her dad raised fighting cocks when fighting cocks were still legal to raise in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
And so he had some aggressive breeds.
They were there. I remember being attacked by chickens, and I was like, no, we are not getting chickens.
Yeah.
I hated it growing up. Anyway.
It sounded like a nightmare idea to her.
Yes.
The kids are going to hate it. Anyway, took some convincing. We got a box of 24 chicks in the mail, and our oldest son specifically, Braylon, who's now going to be a sophomore at Northwestern up here in college, he just fell in love with those birds. He would go spend all day long outside with them. And it was amazing to me, the transformation of wanting to spend all day inside on video games to then wanting to spend all day long outside with the animals. So that group of 24 chicks,
it doubled.
It grew up, started laying eggs. We got another group of 24 chicks, and then we got more chicks.
And then they started an egg route, and it was really awesome because it taught them some social skills and stuff, along with some financial skills because we taught them, you need to save so much, you need to tithe so much, and then the rest, you can spend. And so we were able to teach them some of those things during that time. So then it was the summer of 2010. We decided, Jared told me one day we were headed to Wichita. We were going to see a musical.
Yeah.
And
at Century 2 up there in Wichita.
Yeah.
And I had the idea that we need to get some goats. I had a friend who was looking to get rid of some goats. And he said, I'm not going to make you pay for them. I know you'll give them a good home. Why don't you come look at them? And so I was talking to my wife. I was talking to JoDe on the way up there. I was like, I think we need to go check out these goats and add to our chores for the boys. We decided that would be a good idea to do. And that same evening when we got home, we experienced the death of my father, who I was extremely close to. I worked with him every day. He was my best friend. Anyway, needless to say, that put the goat thing on hold for a few weeks.
It was in August that we decided to go ahead and look at the goats and go get them, bring them home. So we got the goats. And then we named the goats. We had all these goats. Anyway, so then it was during a winter storm that the goats doubled overnight. So we had blizzard weather. And then during this blizzard, the female goats, between the two female goats, they had 5 babies. And so we went from 5 goats to 10 goats overnight.
That sounds like Gremlins.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yes.
That's like a just add water petting zoo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was crazy. And so we're new at this and trying to figure this out in a snowstorm. And so we're working to save baby goats and anything. We end up saving all of them. And then we have 10 goats now. a little while later, during this time, like Jared,
I started spending a lot more time with the boys outside and the chickens and the goats and their animals. Like I would even like just pull up a lawn chair and just sit out there. And at the time, I didn't really realize what I was doing, but it was like the one area in my life that my dad didn't have anything to do with. Again, I didn't realize at the time what it was about, but it started becoming my coping mechanism and my form of
therapy.
Yeah, therapy.
Like animal therapy.
Yeah, animal therapy. And so I remember after we about a month or so after the baby goats came, I started looking at getting some miniature donkeys.
I had no idea he's doing this. During that time, I'm like perusing Pinterest at night, and he's on Craigslist looking for animals. And I have no idea that he's doing this. And the next thing I know, he's bringing home a baby donkey. We're going to look at a baby donkey. And then a little while later, like his mom tells me, oh, we're going to pick up a couple of donkeys tomorrow. And they're bred. And I'm like, what is going on? And so that's when I start becoming the nagging wife. And I'm like, what are you doing? These animals are just like eating. Like,
right.
They're not bringing any income in. They're just taking income away. What are you doing?
They're like kids.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And at that point, we had almost 300 chickens, I think.
Oh, yeah. We had a massive amount of time.
And probably 40 turkeys and a bunch of ducks.
Let me ask you a question about the chickens. So you said you had over 300 chickens. That's how you got your start. You had an egg route even. What did you how do you decide which chickens, I don't know,
which chickens don't become chicken nuggets?
Was that, I mean...
Well, if you ever had one that was a flogger or like to chase the kids, it instantly became a meal.
Oh, wow.
Same thing for a turkey. We had a turkey for a while that would torment. It would literally harass our number 2 child, Brickman, who's now a senior in high school. He would like run all over the farm from that chicken and for that turkey, and that turkey would not chase anybody else, just him. And he finally became a church dinner of turkey and noodles at our church one night.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we had lots and lots of eggs. We cleaned eggs a lot. That was one thing that we did. But it was actually, I'm nagging him, and he hadn't really told me what was going on with him, like,
I'm not really sure I got it.
Right, like through his grief process. He really hadn't talked to me about it, and I'm like nagging. I'm like, what are you doing? And he says, I just, like, this is the one thing. This is the one thing I have that my dad wasn't a part of, and so I feel like it's my one escape from the constant reminder that he's not here. So I was like, oh, man, okay. And once he said that, I thought, he could be doing so many different things through his grief. He could be eating incessantly, which would have probably been his comfort zone to do that during that time. He could have been drinking. He could have been, drowning his sorrows in so many different things. I thought, this isn't that unhealthy. It's okay. We can deal with this. But it was
long story.
It was on. It's a long story, and we've taken a long time to tell.
No, it's fine.
But anyway,
it's your story.
We're literally on our.
No. So my sister messages me, and she says, "Hey, I just saw this in the paper, and it said llamas free to a good home." So I messaged Jared. I'm like, "Hey, my sister just saw this. What do you think?" And it was just like 20 miles from us. So he's like, well, let's go check it out. And so we get over there, and he decides to bring home 5 llamas. What was it? 2 goats?
10 more.
5 llamas, 10 more goats.
And another donkey.
Another donkey, and chickens, and then there were some chickens in there. He's like, okay, yeah, we'll take them.
Well, I think even old McDonald knew how to say when.
I did not.
No, self-discipline, self-control may not be one of his strong suits.
No.
But anyway, we're on our way home with this trailer full of llamas with additional animals. And I looked at him and I said, Jared, this is ridiculous. We have a petting zoo. Oh my gosh, we have a petting zoo. If the animals could pay for themselves, I wouldn't have to gripe at you anymore. we just need the animals to pay for their feed bill. If that could happen, then I won't have to gripe.
So did
right?
did the aha moment happen literally overnight, or was this something you kind of...
It was literally on the way home with the llamas. And so we had lunch with his grandparents that day, and I mentioned it to them, and they weren't super receptive to it, but, they own the land. And so we thought, well, we'll run it by them. And then we kind of wore them down a little bit. I talked to our local chamber of commerce and asked them, hey, what do what are some resources? And they directed us to Oklahoma Tourism, Oklahoma Agritourism. And so we contacted Oklahoma Agritourism and asked them what we needed to do to get started.
We had also talked to our local OSU
extension agent.
And he got super excited about it, which kind of jazzed us up about it. So it was kind of after we talked to him that we really
we're like, okay, let's do this. And so he was thinking, this is really great, and it's great. It'll do some great things for the area, maybe bring some people in and that sort of thing. And we thought, there's not a ton to do in this area. So
March, April.
It was in February that we had the thought when we called Oklahoma Agritourism. She came in March. And she was amazing. She toured our property, told us what we needed to do to get started, gave us this huge long list of things. It was in May that we ended up making contact with one of Jared's best friends now. And we ended up bringing home some Highland cattle, among other things. And
putting a down payment on an unborn baby zebra.
Yeah. And then we moved forward, and it's September, and we called... we just spent the summer working on it, getting ready. And that was 2012, September. We called Lori, and she was our agritourism representative at that point. And she said, hey, we told her, we're like, hey, we're ready for you to come back and check us out and see if, you think that we're viable to join. And
she was really shocked because she said when she gives people that list, a lot of times it may be 4 or 5 years.
She said like it may be 2 years. 2 to 5 years before she hears back from a person. They may decide, hey, we're not into this, or they may decide, it may take a long time. So we started that September. It'll be 8 years, I guess, in September that we had our first appointment. We started off by appointment only through that fall, and we went ahead. Oh gosh, we would, like, someone wanted to come, we jumped up, and it
could be. If it was 1 or 2 people, we'd be like, oh yeah, we'll open up.
And it could be snowing.
We don't keep animals pinned up if we don't have to. Our animals are out in a 32-acre pasture. Actually, right now they're spread across multiple pastures because it's dry and hot out right now. So to keep our pasture here from being ate down so hard, we're spreading them out. So it takes some effort to open up. You can't just say, oh, yeah, give me 10 minutes. We'll open up for you.
It's not like unlocking a door. We've got to gather the animals up and bring them in. There is a process.
And scoop the tins clean and fill their waters and make sure everything's ready to go. It's not just a 10-minute process.
So that first year, that first September through that fall, and then into, I guess it was until the next July. So that would have been 2013. Because we opened in 2012. It was summer of 2013. We decided to open up just a trial run, have some open hours. And so we did it, and it was great. Yeah, it was awesome. It was well received. And we thought, maybe this is what we should do. And so we started opening up and having open hours, and we've done that every year since. We decided, I think it was that year, that it was either that year or the next year, that I told Jared, I said, I think that we should close for winter, because we were still trying to be open during the winter. It's hard, as we said, it's a lot of work to get everything gathered, and I was getting burnt out.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to get burnt out completely. We got to take a break. We don't, the Bible tells us that we need a rest on Sunday, and we're not doing that. And we're not resting at all. We're just going full force all the time, because we had other things going on during the week, and then we'd be open on the weekend, and we just, never a day off. And then we just thought, let's give the animals a break during the winter. And my thought was also, what I envisioned was, you take a toy away from a kid and you put it up high on a shelf and they don't see it anymore, and it's gone, for a couple of months. And then all of a sudden you bring it back down and they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had that toy. And they're excited about it. They're excited to see it again. And so my thought was, just like you take a toy away from a kid, maybe we should do that. Just make it for during that time. We don't, you don't see the animals. And then when spring break comes, people are excited.
Oh, yeah. Spring break historically is really big for us.
Except for this year.
Not so much this year with COVID-19, but...
I have a suggestion for the off season. Jared, it seems like this has really helped you with your grief.
Very much.
You guys should set up a small booth where you have just a goat in a booth and you can just sit in there with the goat, kind of goat therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can charge most therapists charge like $150, $200 an hour. So.
Well, excellent point. That's a great thought.
Well, in all,
or some llama love with a baby llama, right?
Well, in all seriousness, animals are therapeutic. A few years ago, I lost my house in a house fire, and the only things that got out were my 3 dogs and me. Luckily, my wife at the time was out of town. I grew closer to my animals than I had been probably ever. So I get the therapeutic aspect of it, which kind of opens me up to my next question is, with having a petting zoo, are you guys working closely with schools? Have you thought about doing, some type of a therapeutic retreat for special needs, or are these things that have happened or on the calendar or something you've thought about?
Yeah,
we do a lot of school field trips. We have several adult.
Well, we've had some nursing homes, and some rehabilitation centers, sort of thing. They've come out for field trips. We've had preschools and schools. We started out doing that in the spring, and then when we started the hay maze, it became big in the fall to do field trips in the fall as well. And so we do field trips both in the spring and in the fall. We also this year, which if you've looked at our Facebook page, you might have seen it, but we took our little llama. We had this little llama that was born, and it was born it was a very crazy birth. She was stuck in her mama, and so we had to catch the llama in order to pull her. And normally it's our oldest son who does that sort of thing. Jared's a big guy, and his hands are too big for a llama to help out.
I can help out with cows, but smaller than cows. I'm a 6'4".
Yeah, you got some meat hooks, Jared.
I'm a big guy, built big. And,
listen,
smaller cows do not appreciate Jared reaching.
I saw you holding the Coke can in one of your Facebook videos. I'm like, dude, is that a toy? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, when I hold Coke cans, it looks like the little mini Coke cans. Those are not mini, so they're just regular.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He called me and he's like, "Hey, can you come and help me?" And I'm like, "With what?"
Yeah.
Because I do different things during the week, and so he's like, "But it's flexible stuff, so I can come out and help wherever needed." And he's like, "Hey, there's a llama here, and it's having trouble, and I'm gonna need to pull it. Braylon's not here. Can you come out?" And so we came out, and we ended up catching the llama, and it was cold outside, and I don't like the cold at all. But I threw off my coat because I was like, okay, so I either deal with freezing temperatures right now, or I'm not going to have my coat because it's going to be covered in gunk.
Stuff. Yeah.
And so I throw off everything down to my t-shirt, and I'm like, okay, go in there. And so we saved this little baby llama.
Well, I still remember it because you started to reach your hand up there, and then you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm like, just stick your hand in there. I'm trying to hold the llama still. So
that was the first time and I know that people have pulled calves and pulled all kinds of things. Not my thing necessarily, but I did it. As I said, it was my idea to start the petting zoo. It was not my idea to start the animals. I'm the one that has resisted. I go along with it, but it's Jared's total passion. For me, going in there on this baby llama, and then afterwards, I'm like, dang, I can do anything. But anyway, we took this baby llama and we started taking it to schools.
Right.
We started out with our youngest son. He was in pre-K this last year, and we dressed this. He likes the baby llama in red pajamas, and so we actually stole a pair of pajamas from his closet, ripped a spot for a tail, and put him on this baby llama, and it was pretty cute. And it was so we did And they loved it. The kids loved it. We walked it all through the school. And then after that, we had several phone calls to come out. We've done that. We take the animals out, not this year, but in years past, to our 4th of July celebration downtown. We've taken them to BBS's. We've got what I call a porta petty. Mm-hmm. So it's a little.
I like that.
Yeah, normally we keep our animals on our property because we're set up so good here. It's so easy to do it on our property. We have an awesome facility with awesome playground equipment. So it just works better for people to come to us.
So if it works within our schedule, we're like, okay, we'll go ahead and do that. But so we'll set up the porta petty, and it's a trailer that the animals still have room to move in, and then kids can come up and feed them, and it's set up really well that we can do that. It's not our preference to travel with the animals. We rather that people come to us. We do some stuff with schools and stuff. We haven't actually offered like any sort of therapy sort of thing. We do have several people come to us. Yeah,
and we've had some adult groups come out, like the one from Medicine Lodge.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. You're kind of an outreach for and an outlet for a lot of people. I'm going to touch on the Joe Exotic thing. It has its humorous tones to it, but obviously having that documentary come out, not only are tiger exhibits and basically home zoos, because you're not like a Tulsa Zoo, you're not like the OKC Zoo or the New York City Zoo. That has shined a light on everyone that handles their, you know what I mean, that has exotic animals. Has it changed? Mm-hmm. Has it changed the way you operate? Have you been asked how you conduct business? Do you have people drop in?
I mean, we really haven't, but if you've ever been to our facility, we get comments every week from people who have never been here that we run the cleanest petting zoo they've ever been to in their entire life with the healthiest looking animals. We take pride in the cleanliness of our property.
But we just, we pray that we are able to continue to do that. We started this because we love animals.
Right.
It's not, I say it's Jared's passion. I love animals too. It's just not my thing to, it's not fully my thing, but I love animals.
Yeah, she'll spend just as much time playing with them.
Yeah, totally. So, you know how you feel about your pet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. These animals are our pets.
Mm-hmm. They were pets first.
It's not about just we have a bunch of animals. It's like these are our pets, and we're opening up our, property to allow you to come and see them because they're our pets. And do we charge? Yes, because we need to be able to pay for them.
Right.
But we've become a spot also that people will call us and be like,
right.
Hey, we got some rabbits for Easter for our kids, and now they're kind of more work than what we thought they were going to be. Would you be able to take them? Or
we've had everything dropped off from chickens and rabbits up to cows and horses.
A 5-legged cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
obviously you're not in it for money. You mentioned, it's not a financial, you guys aren't in it to get rich. You only charge $6 to get in.
That's
correct.
I mean, you're not in it for the money. It's the passion of the game. I mean, I can't think of a better fit, really. And you take good care of you would think for $6 a head, there might be a leaky faucet probably every now and again, but you guys take care of business. You really do take care of business out there.
We're doing what we can to. I'll say this is that I grew up in a family with 5+ kids, and, we didn't have the money to go out and do all of the different things. My thought process when we very first started this was, we're not in it to get rich. We're in it to pay for our animals. If we make some money, amazing. Yes, we want to do that. But I want to make it affordable so that a family can come out here. And so we offer different things also through the community. The schools have reading programs. And so we will give out passes for the reading programs, like if they hit 25, 50, 75 books, every 25 books, they can choose to get a Menagerie pass.
We've had kids whose family can't afford to do a lot of stuff, and they'll sit there and read and save up enough passes, get enough passes to bring their brothers and sisters out, not just themselves.
And it's kind of cool because then you see the pride on that. There was one in particular that just the look on her face was just pure pride that she was able to provide that for her family. And that was so cool. It was just so awesome to be able to see that.
We went round and round with some people to start with about our prices. Like, even Oklahoma Agritourism suggested that we charged more because we're worth more than what we're charging. We wanted to keep it affordable.
Yeah. I just, you have a family of 3 or 4 or whatever, it just, I just wanted it to be affordable. And then we do have the add-on things. We have the ride on the camel or the steer. You have the large feed cups. We do the maze. In the fall, we have the laser tag, the outdoor laser tag available. And we're always kind of looking to see what else we could add on and just, do it through that.
Every year, I try to add at least 2 more pieces of playground equipment to our ag-themed playground.
Just trying to expand on that. And then,
if you were out here the first year that we were open, you wouldn't believe the changes. And we have people that do. They're like, oh, I haven't been out here since you opened. I can't believe how this is changed.
If you actually go and look, right after our third son was born in 2014, we were on Discover Oklahoma. And it's funny to look back at that because that was just really a year and a half, 2 years after we opened. So now looking at it from where we are now, it's funny to see how much has actually changed since then.
So as far as your playground goes, can you kind of give us a verbal description of that?
It's massive, first of all.
I was trying to get them to say that.
I know, but it's like an obstacle course in the country, man. It's cool.
We have several pieces of equipment. I mean, we have our normal slide. I tell you what, we have some games that are really popular. We have a tower that you climb a set of stairs up to with 3 rubber pails out in front of it, rubber chickens. We call it Chuck the Cluck. And the goal for kids is to throw these rubber chickens down into these rubber pails. You'd be surprised how much kids love that game.
You don't get anything. You don't get a prize for it. It's pride.
Yep, we have a big stock tank out there that's full of pea gravel and coins, and kids can dig in there, and anything they find, they get a keep.
What's the age cutoff on the? I'm just saying. If I got to,
I've seen adults in there digging with young kids.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I'm the biggest big kid I know, so I have been in there. I won't lie.
Yeah, we have a puzzle that you can put together that's
4 foot by 8 foot puzzle
that's painted, and then we have like the face cutouts. We have the giant swings that we put those in. Was that last spring, or maybe the fall before? The big swings we found, and those are very popular.
And they're popular for us, too.
Yeah.
Can you jump out of them, though?
Our teenagers, it's kind of crazy.
They get them swinging pretty high.
It's a little bit scary to see our 6-year-old being swung by 2 teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
He's just learned to hang on.
He loves it.
Yeah, he does.
It really looks like American Ninja Warrior, Alva, Oklahoma.
Right. We have 2 highline poles, telephone poles, up off the ground a couple feet, and that's our walk the plank. We also have a huge truck slide that I made out of a 1948 Ford wheat truck that my great-grandpa that lived on this property bought new in 1948, and it was used on this farm for years as our functioning wheat truck, and now we're using it as a giant slide. It's a lot of fun.
I will tell you that I actually broke my tailbone on that prior to it being ready. I'm glad it happened to me and not someone else.
I wasn't finished with it.
No, it was to show Jared, I think, that it happened just so I could really get him to listen that it was not safe yet. Because he was not hearing.
Nobody has been hurt since.
He was not hearing. He was not hearing me that it was not safe. And then he's like, here, go try it. And so I went and I tried it. And, oh, man, I hit so hard on the bottom.
I kept adding things to it to make it safer each time. And she kept saying, well, no, you're not finished yet. And I was building it on a cement slab up here by our house that we wash tractors and trucks and stuff on. Between the sawdust and the cement and her slick shoes she wasn't wearing tennis shoes. It was a deadly combination.
The sawdust that was on the slide that made me go faster.
It made her go faster. And when she hit the ground and the sawdust hit, and her shoes like slipped out from under her, totally busted her tail.
There is video of
Yeah,
So-
I videoed it, and it was a good one.
Oh my gosh.
So,
I can feel like feeling it.
you guys, how long have you two been married?
Almost 19.
It'll be 19 years
Okay.
in November.
You guys just listening to, there's been a lot of communication issues. So with buying animals and not
Thank
listening.
you for saying so.
I've been in therapy probably as long as you guys have been married, so I know what I'm doing. So if somebody said, "What's the secret to marriage?" and if they ever say they said it was communication, I'm gonna tell them they're lying. They never said that. But no, you guys have got But here's the thing: you guys work. It's oil and water sometimes, but you guys work great together. I like it. I love this. I love the energy. We love what you're doing out there. Are you the only show in any nearby town? What's your closest competition? The KC Zoo? I mean, you guys.
I mean, I don't like to think of things as competition.
Well, yeah, I know.
Because we each have our own unique things. I know that there's a thing that opens up over in Woodward in the fall.
The one in Stillwater would be a little more closely related to what we do.
I don't know.
But
I don't.
But they're so far. Everyone's so far away from us. We don't consider anybody competition.
I guess I shouldn't have said competition. You
have to travel a long ways before you find anything else like us on the map.
How many KFCs do I have to travel to find 300 chickens? I don't. That original and maybe if I do original and what is the other one? Extra tasty crispy. I could get 300 and a couple stops. But that is just crazy.
I will say this: we no longer have 300 chickens. Our son did some show chickens and stuff like that for a while. His senior year of high school, he decided to downsize.
Yeah, as the boys got older and busy in high school, and we live in a small community, and when you're in a small community, you're involved in everything.
Yes.
And so as they got older and active in school, we had to cut back on our chickens because it was too much to have to do all of their activities plus the work of the egg route and all the chickens. I mean, we still have chickens. We still have plenty of chickens, but we don't have 300.
But are they lost in the hay bale maze? I mean, there's 890 bales of hay. That's a lot.
Yeah, you say that. That was a while back ago. I believe last year's numbers was over 1,100 bales.
Oh, my gosh.
And those are 6-foot round bales that are 1,600 pounds each.
Jared's still fighting some carpal tunnel issues after using the skid steer to get that ready.
It's been about 2 weeks solid in there between bringing them to our property and unloading them and building the hay maze. This last year, it inflamed my carpal tunnel from the use of the joysticks and the skid steer, and I've been fighting it ever since.
Well, it would probably take me 2 weeks to get out of it. At 1,100 hay bales.
I'll tell you, it depends on your sense of direction. If you have a good internal sense of direction, you can do it fairly easily. But we have some people that can get in and out of there in 20 minutes, and we've had others that have been there over 3 hours.
But we add like a scavenger hunt to it as well, so people can go in and do the scavenger hunt. If you're just wanting to get out of it, you can get out of it. But the scavenger hunt adds like the next level of difficulty.
Right, we have nine different stamp stations, and if you can find all 9, we let you draw for a prize when you get out.
Can you do like an off-season thing where you let like an angry billy goat out in there, and you've got to make your way past it?
I have talked before about because we do around Halloween, we do 3 or 4 nights of a spook maze. Our maze becomes a haunted maze attraction. And I have talked for years about, because sometimes people are terrified of them. I've joked before about putting an emu in the center of the hay maze and letting it walk around in there during the spook maze. Because, man, you'd be surprised how many people are terrified of large birds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always thought that would be hilarious. But
so speaking of your Halloween events, what events do you guys have throughout the year? I guess more specifically, what events do you have from this point on for the rest of the year?
Right. And is anything altered because of all the day-to-day, week-to-week changes of COVID?
Well, that's a great question, and we are still finding that out as we go. I will say our numbers have been drastically down this year. We did start doing it by appointment on Thursdays and Fridays, where normally we're just open Thursdays and Fridays. But if nobody's going to come out, it's not worth us going to the effort of opening.
So what we have moving forward is we'll continue to be open Thursday and Friday by appointment until the end of the summer, and then open on Saturday. We normally shut down in September
to build, to work on hauling the hay and building the hay maze, and then reopen with the hay maze in October, November. And then right there around Halloween, we do the haunted maze also. We also do on Thursdays and Fridays and Saturday evenings during October our flashlight maze in the evening. And that's a lot of fun. We have a lot of families come out who they prefer to do it in the evening with flashlight, or if you can hit it on a full moon, you almost don't even need a flashlight. It's beautiful during a full moon. And then we also offer one of our favorite events during the year is our live nativity that we do around just before Christmas. And we normally do that for 2 or 3 nights, depending upon the year and the weather and everything like that. But we normally try to hit that up the weekend before Christmas.
So with events like that are mostly outdoor, do you is there a food truck situation, or what can people expect? Is it kind of BYO hot cocoa?
So we normally do offer hot cocoa available in our boxcar when it's cold out. And there are certain days of the year we have a food truck out of Northwestern.
We normally do.
Wait. Stop. Hang on a second. Back up. Back the train up, Jared. You can't just slide by on our boxcar. You can't just. Come on.
Yeah, we have an antique is a 1948 reefer unit, refrigerated boxcar.
And that's our check-in point. How did you trade? Did you trade some chickens for that?
That was actually my dad's man cave before man caves were a thing.
Wow.
He had 5 daughters and 2 stepdaughters. I mean, he had to have a space.
Oh, yeah. And all those girls with one bathroom, too. You might point that out.
Yeah.
So that was his escape. He had it to where he could go in there and close the door. He had a little AC window unit in the end of it. And then on the same end, he also had a little wood-burning furnace. And so he would keep himself comfortable in there all year long.
He was a hunter. He would fill his shot. He would process his deer. He would do everything. I mean, he had a bunch of brothers. They would go and hang out there. I mean, it was his escape.
So when we were first looking for a building to try to put out there, it was actually after Breaker, our youngest. After he was born, we wanted someplace you and him could get out of the wind and the sun and the heat. Because before that, we just we had a little bit
Charlie Brown looking stand, with Lucy, the doctor is in sort of thing.
Right. That's kind of originally what we had people checked in with, or where we checked in our entry point. And so then we were looking for a structure. And we had gone down here to Enid, about an hour away from us, and looked at multiple different little buildings and options. And we didn't fall in love with anything. And we were on our way home, and JoDe managed to see a boxcar similar to the one that her dad had. She goes, "Oh, a boxcar might be neat. Maybe we need to look for one of those, an old train car." And I was like, "Well, what's going on with your dad?" Because at that point, your dad had been gone, what?
Well, my dad passed in 2007.
So 7 some years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what's going on with it? So we called one of JoDe's uncles, and he said if we wanted to try to attempt to move it, we could. And I tell you, it was an undertaking. It was a challenge to move it. But we had a neighbor up here who helped us do it, and he did an awesome job. We only had one little scratch put in it in the whole moving process, and It was, and it's cool for me to have a piece of my childhood here, that we still get to. Because everything we have up here is my family.
Right. Not all heroes wear capes. Some of them wear bib overalls. I mean, I think I really look up to the guy now.
Yeah. It was cool.
As far as getting in touch with you, finding out about upcoming events, or finding out more information, or setting up an appointment, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
The quickest way to get us is on Facebook at facebook.com/Bradts Menagerie. That's BRADTS MENAGERIE. If you message us on Facebook, That's going to be the quickest way to get to us because we have multiple people who are checking the account throughout the day. And so one of us will see it. And our Facebook is a lot more up to date than anything else is.
I always tell people, because a lot of people for some reason have trouble remembering Bradts Menagerie, if you Google Alva Petting Zoo or Alva Hay Maze, we will be the only things that pop up.
Right. We also have a phone number, 580-430-1269. I have to double check that because it's just a couple numbers off of Jared and Brickman's phone number. So I said that slowly. But we're also on Instagram at Bradts Menagerie, our website, brattsmenagerie.com.
We'll put links to all of that information in our show notes for people to find you. But we do want to say you guys have been a blast. We love talking to you, and we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. You guys need to come and see us.
You know what we didn't talk about in the interview? Laser tag. We didn't talk laser tag.
How do we miss laser tag?
We talked a llama, and I even teased it in the cold open. Llamas and laser tags. I know it was a clever mashup, and we didn't even talk about it.
I blame you.
It's always me. Ask Carson. It's always me. But yeah, I think I always say this, it's such a great idea, but that's a huge undertaking. You go from, I don't know.
It's a cool story for starters.
No, what it tells me is a box of chickens is a gateway drug to the llamas. And Z-donks.
We also, I don't think we talked about
we didn't talk about the freaking Z-donks, man.
Yeah.
I thought only the OKC Zoo had a Z-donk. Or maybe not.
Maybe they just have a donkey that they paint every day.
Maybe so. Come see you get on it and the paint comes off. You get your money back when you realize it's a donkey painted as a zebra. I don't know. What's the giveaway when the donkey goes, oh?
No, I don't know that a Z-donk doesn't do that.
I don't either. I don't know that does a donkey, not a donkey, but does a zebra make any noise as a general rule? I've never heard.
I don't know.
Do they bray like a normal horse?
I don't know.
Your daughter is an equestrian expert. Find out. Find out about the Z-donk. But anyway, no, cool. I really, they know their story inside and out. A lot of energy there.
I like everything that they're doing. And the thing is, you kind of veered towards it, but they're in the middle of nowhere. They don't have a lot of competition.
There is not a lot of competition.
The amount of effort that they put into something that doesn't have any competition is kind of amazing.
If the price of admission doesn't lure you in, the chance of being ran over by some type of an exotic wild animal in a 1,000-bale maze should. $6. If I died due to a zebra for $6, that's a legend. I'm a legend.
I don't think you're going to die from the zebra, but I do believe that you could probably set a record for how long it takes to get out of the hay bale maze.
So I have an emu story. I had family who had an emu farm many years ago. Okay. And one of the workers was on the ranch and was gored by an emu. They're basically a feathered raptor almost. They have these, it's like I don't know what you call it, like a claw on the back of when they kick, that's their defense. They jump up and kick.
Okay.
And he got caught in the gut, and it ripped him from the belly button to the.
I don't think that's a fact that we need to share.
I'm just telling you.
On a show about
tourism.
About a friendly petting zoo. On top of that, if any show is going to be listened to by kids, it's probably going to be this episode that they're listening to because it's like, oh, it's a petting zoo.
What I'm saying is we've come a long way with emus. They've evolved to where they're more friendly now. That's what, if you'd let me get there. Science, man. Evolution and shop callers have done a lot for the emu community. I'm just kidding. But no, I think it's cool. I've never been to Alva. Have you ever been? The only Alva I've ever heard of, Tony Alva.
The skater, yeah.
Yeah. That's it. And I've lived here my entire life. I have heard of Alva, but I've never been there. I probably drove by it going to Kansas, not thinking about it. It's way up there.
It is up there, yeah.
But for $6, come on. The chance of a lifetime. Jump off swings. They didn't say anything about
not jumping. I didn't hear any. It's like the wild, wild west of playgrounds. You just.
No one, if they're far enough out there, no one's going to hear you scream.
when you jump off the teeter-totter when.
Mm-hmm. They deliver llamas with their bare hands. They're probably going to be able to sew you up if something goes wrong. Just saying.
Did you just accuse our guests of like burying bodies?
No, bare hands, like delivering llamas. Well, no, I mean, I'm talking about like resetting a bone.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about getting rid of evidence there for a second.
Well, I mean, it is in the middle of nowhere. When in Rome. But no, if you get a chance, check them out. It's so cool, man. Alpacas. Come on.
I kind of feel like that's not a billboard for them. It's not. Come on, man. Alpacas. I mean, maybe I might stop actually. That may be just a brilliant billboard.
No, wait. I'll tell you, the lamest billboard was the old Arbuckle Wilderness billboards. Come feed the animals. That's kind of basic.
I think, come on, man. Alpacas.
I think it's
probably better. I agree.
Well, anyway, check them out. Bradts, Menagerie.com. And we've got a bunch of stuff coming up.
We do. We've got a bunch of different types of shows coming up. I'm super excited. We're kind of going some places that we hadn't thought we would get to.
And probably off the beaten track. May be able to tell you how to go on an adventure or two.
Absolutely.
But, I will say this about those adventures that you mentioned to me. You're listing out all the things that you could do when you're part of the Adventurers Club or whatever it is. I've never done any of them, and most of them are on water. So, have fun.
Well, this has been the Only in OK Show. I'm Harley.
I'm Brett.
And we're out of here.
Peace.
There's like a 53% chance that it's not Bradts.
Bradts. Well, we'll do the... okay, I've got it. Ready?
Let's just shoot the show.
No, ready?
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Would you like to swing on a star? Carry moonbeams home in a jar.
All right.
And be better off than you are. Or would you rather be a fish? I choose fish. I want to be a fish.
And welcome to the show. Pull up the thing. I made a little thing.
And welcome to the show.
Let's start the show.
Don't be a hoe.
Unless you're in the garden.
I don't know if we have time to do
Yeah, we do.
Did we have 5 minutes?
We got it. Ready? 3, 2, 1.